Is the old man a human or a lord? Will she get a gift again if she meets the old man again? Let's find out. The Mirror's Reflection, Part 2. Jennifer wandered through the stalls, searching for any sign of the mirror seller, but he was nowhere to be found. Disappointed but not surprised, Jennifer walked back toward the edge of the market. Just as she was about to leave, an old woman sitting by a small stall called out to her. "You're looking for something, aren't you?" the woman asked, her voice raspy but kind. Jennifer turned to the woman, surprised. "Yes, I am. Wait. Again, yes, I am. I'm looking for an old man who used to sell mirrors here. Do you know him?" The old woman smiled knowingly. "Ah, the mirror seller. Yes, I know of him. He comes and goes as he pleases, appearing when he is needed and disappearing when his work is done. You won't find him here today, but rest assured, he has not forgotten you." Jennifer was puzzled. "Who is he?" The old woman's smile widened. "He is someone who helps people see the truth within themselves. You were one of the lucky ones. You found him when you needed him most." Jennifer nodded slowly, realizing that the mirror seller had indeed appeared in her life at the perfect time. She had needed to see the truth about herself, and the mirror had given her that gift. She thanked the old woman and left the market, her heart full of gratitude. As the years passed, Jennifer continued to live her life in the village, offering advice and support to those around her. She became known not just for her intelligence, but for her kindness and wisdom. People from neighboring villages would come to seek her counsel, knowing that she would offer them thoughtful, compassionate guidance. One day, a young boy came to Jennifer's door. He was holding a small, broken mirror in his hands, his face filled with worry. "Miss Jennifer, can you help me?" the boy asked. "I found this mirror, but it's cracked. My father says it's useless now, but I thought maybe you could fix it." Jennifer knelt down to examine the mirror. The glass was indeed cracked, but it still reflected the boy's anxious face. She smiled gently and said, "The mirror may be cracked, but it still works. Just like people, even when we're a little broken, we still have value. We can still reflect light and show the truth." The boy looked at her curiously. "But how can a broken mirror be useful?" Jennifer thought for a moment, then replied, "Sometimes the cracks in the mirror remind us that we're not perfect, but they also show us that we can grow, learn, and become better. It's not about being flawless. It's about being kind and understanding, both to ourselves and to others." The boy's face lit up with understanding, and he smiled. "I never thought of it that way. Thank you, Miss Jennifer." As the boy ran off, holding the cracked mirror carefully in his hands, Jennifer stood up and watched him disappear into the distance. She smiled to herself, thinking about how far she had come. The mirror had taught her many lessons, but the most important one was that true beauty and wisdom come from within. When we learn to speak and act with kindness, we reflect our best selves. Years later, when Jennifer was much older, she sat in her chair by the fire, holding the golden frame mirror in her hands. Her reflection had aged, but her eyes still shone with the warmth and kindness she had cultivated over the years. She thought about all the people she had met, all the lives she had touched, and all the wisdom she had gained. The mirror had once shown her a harsh, cold reflection, a reflection of her sharp words and thoughtless honesty. But now it showed her true self, a woman who had learned that the power of words lay not just in their truth, but in how they were delivered. A woman who had learned that kindness, above all, was the key to a beautiful life. As Jennifer gazed into the mirror one last time, she noticed a small inscription on the frame that she had never seen before. It read, "The beauty of the heart is reflected in the mirror of our words." She smiled softly, her heart full of peace. The mirror had given her a gift beyond measure, a gift she had passed on to others, just as the old man had passed it on to her. And in that moment, Jennifer knew that her journey, like the mirror, had come full circle. As Jennifer sat by the fire, the warmth of the flames reflected in her eyes, and she felt a deep sense of contentment. Her life had been filled with many challenges, but she had learned and grown in ways she never imagined possible. The village, once wary of her sharp words, now cherished her presence. She had become a symbol of wisdom, kindness, and understanding. A person others sought out when they needed guidance. The mirror remained on her lap, its golden frame as beautiful as ever, though slightly worn with age. She traced her fingers over the inscription, "The beauty of thee here is reflected in the mirror of our words," and thought about how much that simple phrase had changed her life. The mirror had shown her who she was at her worst, but more importantly, it had guided her toward becoming the best version of herself. As the evening grew darker, Jennifer heard a soft knock on the door. Surprised at the late hour, she stood up, leaving the mirror by her chair, and went to answer it. To her astonishment, standing at her doorstep was the old man, the same mirror seller she had met all those years ago. His face had barely changed, and his eyes still sparkled with the same mysterious kindness. "You," Jennifer whispered, her voice full of wonder. "It's been so many years." The old man smiled gently. "Yes, Jennifer. I've been watching your journey. You've come a long way since the day you first looked into that mirror." Jennifer nodded, emotion welling up inside her. "I have. You were right. The mirror didn't just reflect my appearance. It showed me the truth about myself. And because of that, I've learned to live with kindness and understanding." The old man stepped inside, looking around the cozy room filled with memories. He glanced at the mirror sitting on the chair, then back at Jennifer. "You've done well, Jennifer. But now it's time for the mirror to find someone else. There are many in this world who need to learn the lesson you have mastered." Jennifer felt a pang in her heart at the thought of parting with the mirror. It had been with her for so long, guiding her through her transformation. But she knew the old man was right. The mirror had served its purpose in her life, and now it was time for someone else to benefit from its wisdom. "I understand," she said softly, her voice steady. "Who will you give it to next?" The old man's eyes twinkled as he replied, "The mirror finds those who need it most, just as it found you. Its next owner will come when the time is right." Jennifer nodded, accepting this truth. She walked over to the chair, picked up the mirror, and handed it to the old man. He took it with a gentle smile, holding it as if it were the most precious thing in the world. "You've given the village and the people around you something far more valuable than this mirror," the old man said. "You've given them your kindness, your wisdom, and your heart. That's a legacy that will live on long after the mirror has moved on." Jennifer smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. She had no regrets about letting the mirror go, for she knew that its lessons had already been deeply ingrained in her heart. "Thank you," Jennifer said, her voice full of gratitude, "for everything." The old man nodded and turned to leave, carrying the mirror with him. As he stepped out into the night, Jennifer watched him disappear into the shadows, just as mysteriously as he had appeared all those years ago. The next morning, Jennifer awoke feeling lighter than she had in years. She knew that her time with the mirror had come to an end, but her journey of kindness and understanding would continue. As she went about her day, she greeted the villagers with her usual warmth, offering advice and encouragement wherever she could. Life in the village carried on, but Jennifer's presence remained a guiding light for many. Eliza's bakery continued to thrive. Marta's crops grew better each year, and even the children of the village, who once avoided her, now ran up to her with smiles and stories to share. As the years passed, Jennifer grew older, but her spirit remained as youthful and vibrant as ever. The lessons she had learned from the mirror had become a part of who she was, and she lived each day with a heart full of gratitude and love for the people around her. And though the mirror was gone, its message lived on in every kind word Jennifer spoke, in every act of compassion she offered, and in every life she touched. One bright summer afternoon, long after Jennifer had passed on, a young woman walked through the village. She was new to the town, having recently moved there to start a small shop. As she wandered through the marketplace, she stumbled upon an old man with a cart full of mirrors. His face was lined with age, but his eyes sparkled with a familiar kindness. Curious, the young woman approached the cart and picked up a beautiful mirror with a golden frame, intricately designed with leaves and vines. As she looked into it, she saw her reflection staring back at her. But there was something different about it, something deeper. The old man smiled gently. "This is no ordinary mirror," he said, his voice soft and wise. "It shows not just your appearance, but the state of your heart. Are you ready to see the truth?" The young woman hesitated for a moment, then nodded. She had no idea what the mirror would reveal, but something told her that this was the beginning of a new journey, just as it had been for Jennifer all those years ago. And so the mirror continued its journey, passing from one soul to another, offering each person the chance to see their true reflection and to discover the beauty of their own heart. For in the end, it is not just what we see in the mirror that matters. It is what we choose to do with the truth it reveals. The story ends here. If you are interested in hearing about a girl whose power saves the villagers from terrible events, click the video here or follow the link in the description.